You know, it's kind of stark when you look at the numbers connecting food and health. Like there's this big 5-year study, over 100,000 people, right? And it found a 12% higher cancer risk for every 10% jump in eating ultra-processed foods.
Wow, 12%. That's significant.
It really is. And it makes you think about, well, all the other little choices we make every day. So that's what we try to do here on the Deep Dive. Really get into the stuff you send us, figure out what matters, you know, without drowning in info.
Cutting through the noise.
Exactly. And this week, wow, you sent in such a mix. Everything from improving English just by listening to the benefits of drinking warm water, who knew? And then like deeper stuff about food, family, habits.
A real variety pack.
Totally. So our plan, our mission, is to sort of pull out the really juicy bits, the actionable stuff, and see how it all, maybe surprisingly, connects.
Yeah, it's fascinating, actually. Because when you look at it all together, you see these threads, right? Learning, daily grind, food culture, nutrition. It all kind of weaves together.
It really does. It's a good reminder that it's all connected.
Absolutely. Nothing happens in a vacuum.
Okay, so let's dive in. First up, something, well, probably useful for everyone tuning in, getting better at English. One source you sent highlighted how just listening, maybe even to us right now, hopefully, can be like a really effective learning tool. It's more than just hearing words, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Listening is super powerful because you're absorbing the language, like in its natural habitat.
Right.
You're not just memorizing lists. You hear how words actually fit together, the rhythm, the tone, all those little clues that tell you what someone really means.
Yeah, the meaning behind the words. And the source pointed out other perks too, like building vocabulary naturally, getting a feel for grammar without textbooks.
Pronunciation too. And even getting used to different accents.
It's like leveling up while you're doing other stuff. Pretty smart if you want to learn efficiently, you know?
Exactly. Your brain just kind of adapts. It starts mapping out the language patterns the more you hear them. It's pretty cool, actually.
Okay, switching gears a bit now to something more personal. Someone shared a really detailed daily routine.
Yes, I remember that one.
Yeah, starting with waking up, the essential cup of tea, even ironing clothes before the commute, and heading off to teach.
Quite the structured morning.
Totally. It painted such a clear picture, especially compared to the evening, which sounded way more relaxed.
That level of detail, it tells you something about how we, create these frameworks to get through the day.
Right. And within that framework, the text also mentioned making deliberate changes, trying healthier recipes, adding daily walks.
Yeah, the intentional shifts.
Yes. And I thought it was interesting how it separated things that were just habits from things done lately, like being aware of how your habits evolve.
That's a really key distinction.
Yeah.
Habits versus recent efforts.
It makes you think about your own day, doesn't it? Like, what are the automatic things and what are you actively trying to do differently?
Absolutely. Taking stock like that is, well, it's super valuable for figuring out where you might want to tweak things for, better well-being.
Okay, now this next bit, this really grabbed me. The whole idea of drinking warm water first thing in the morning on an empty stomach.
Yes. The warm water thing.
I feel like I've heard people mention it, but I didn't realize there was actual science behind it.
Yeah, the info you sent pointed to a couple of key things. First off, warm water can actually help improve blood circulation.
Really? How?
Well, better blood flow means more oxygen and nutrients get delivered around your body more efficiently. That includes your brain, which could help with, clearer thinking.
Huh. So that kind of morning brain fog, maybe a simple glass of warm water could actually help shift that a bit.
It could definitely be a factor, yeah. And the second thing mentioned was reducing stress and anxiety.
Okay, how does that work?
It seems to have this sort of soothing effect on the nervous system. Just a gentle way to ease your body into the day, internally.
That is fascinating. It's one of those tiny habits, right? But it sounds like it could have bigger ripple effects than you'd think. Maybe a little aha moment for someone listening.
Could be. It certainly makes you appreciate how these little daily rituals can impact our overall state and how connected everything inside us is.
All right, let's move over to culture a bit specifically. Breakfast in America.
Okay, food culture. Always interesting.
Your source mentioned how a good breakfast sets you up with energy, helps stop you from overeating later. Makes sense?
Yeah, the basics. But what stood out culturally was the difference between weekdays and weekends.
Oh, right. Weekdays are all about speed and convenience, yeah. Lighter stuff, quick options.
Exactly. Grab and go often.
Oof.
But then weekends, that's when you see the bigger, more leisurely breakfasts come out. More time more social maybe.
And the #1 breakfast food. Seems like it's eggs, any way you can make them.
Yes. Scrambled, fried, omelets, poached, the whole 9 yards. Very versatile.
Can't go wrong with eggs, really. Cereal was up there too, obviously, for convenience. It's just a neat little window into daily life somewhere else, you know?
Definitely. Food habits tell you so much about a culture, the practical needs, the traditions, all of it. Breakfast is a great snapshot.
Speaking of food, let's talk pizza. Seems like everyone loves pizza.
Pretty universal, yeah.
Though apparently the great Hawaiian pizza war rages on. Pineapple, yes or no?
Chuckle slightly. Yes, the pineapple question. Divisive.
The text kind of poked fun at it, right? Some people are firmly anti-pineapple, others think it actually, works. On pizza, even burgers, apparently.
It just shows how incredibly personal taste is, doesn't it? No right or wrong, just preference.
Totally. Then it got into what was called the biggest, worst eating habit. Snacking during movies, especially popcorn.
Oh, yeah. The mindless munching zone.
I think most of us can probably relate to that. When you're watching the screen, hand just keeps going into the bowl.
It's so easy. Your brain's focused elsewhere. You're not even registering how much you're eating. Environment is powerful.
Yeah. The source also mentions someone backing off spicy food for, digestive reasons, a personal choice.
Makes sense. Listen to your body.
And then, this was fun detail. This personal mission, someone had to try fish and chips.
Oh, the fish and chips quest.
Yeah, from different hotels, different cities. Apparently London was the winner.
That's brilliant. It adds such a human, kind of quirky touch, doesn't it?
It really does. That specific goal, chasing the perfect fish and chips, it shows how food isn't just fuel, it's tied up in experiences, exploration.
Exactly. Little personal histories built around meals.
Definitely. Then things took a turn towards family and how family shapes our whole relationship with food. This part was really quite lovely.
Yeah, that was nice.
The story about the connection in an Asian family, how sharing dessert specifically creates closeness.
It really highlights that social, emotional side of eating, doesn't it? Especially in families. Sharing food, especially something fun like dessert, it's a bonding thing, a ritual almost.
Totally. And the description of the mom cooking homemade meals every night, even while working full-time. And that feeling of love being like an ingredient in the food.
That really came across. The sheer effort and care involved in feeding your family, that's huge.
It is. And I liked the mention of the dad stepping in too, cooking when the mom wasn't there, even making cheese.
Yeah, it painted this picture of a partnership around food, not just one person's job.
Yeah.
Very supportive.
Okay, so now let's bring it back to where we started, really processed foods. And that statistic.
Right, the connection.
The text defined them pretty clearly. Foods changed from how they're usually packed with sugar, salt, unhealthy fats, artificial stuff.
Yeah, things like fast food, packaged snacks, sugary drinks. Yeah. The usual suspects.
And the key thing is that processing often strips out the good stuff, the nutrients.
Exactly. And replace it with things designed purely for taste or texture or shelf life. Often, not great for our actual health long term.
And yeah, they're convenient, they taste good. Let's be real, sometimes you just want that pizza, right?
Of course. Life happens.
But the source really stressed moderation and trying to prioritize home-cooked meals more often. It even suggested looking for quick, easy recipes you can actually do at home instead of just getting takeout.
That's such a crucial point. It's not necessarily about banning everything, because that's often not realistic or sustainable.
Right.
It's more about being aware of what you're eating, understanding the trade-offs with convenience, and making conscious choices to lean towards whole, unprocessed foods when you can.
Makes sense. This then led into something really thought-provoking about weight loss.
Okay.
The text kind of challenged that common idea that it's all about exercise.
Right, the anecdote.
Yeah, someone losing a lot of weight, like 100 kilos down to 65, basically, just by changing when they ate, not by suddenly exercising loads.
That really highlights how much impact diet and even meal timing can have. Exercise is obviously super important for health overall, but
maybe not the only lever for weight management.
Exactly. And it brings up the importance of what's going on inside our metabolic health, which, isn't always obvious from the outside.
Yeah, it's not just about appearance. Then it got into the body's sleep-wake cycle, down at the cellular level.
The circadian rhythm stuff.
Right, mentioning how things like growth hormone and melatonin peak while we sleep, and that's when our bodies do major repair work, fixing damage from heavy meals or just daily stress.
Critical repair window.
So good sleep isn't just feeling less tired, it's fundamental for healing and keeping everything running smoothly.
Precisely. Sleep is when the body gets to do its deep cleaning and maintenance. It directly impacts how efficiently we handle everything, including digesting food and coping with stress.
Which brings us right back around full circle to the serious health stuff linked to those processed foods.
Yeah, the risks.
We started with that cancer stat, but the source also listed the impact of all that added sugar, sodium, unhealthy fats, higher risks for obesity, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes.
It's a heavy list. And these are major, major health problems.
And it's scary how common those ingredients are in processed stuff. It's not just one thing, it's the combination.
It is. It's the cumulative effect of consuming these things regularly. And like the text said, throwing artificial ingredients into the mix to make it taste better just adds another layer of potential concern for long-term health.
It definitely makes you stop and think about how much of that stuff has crept into our diets, often without us really noticing. Convenience wins out, maybe.
It often does.
Yeah.
And that prompts that bigger question, doesn't it? What are we prioritizing, that immediate ease and taste, or investing in our health for the long haul?
So wrapping up this deep dive, we've covered a lot of ground from the sources you shared.
We really have.
Everything from, language learning through listening, the details of daily routines and making small, healthy changes.
The surprising science behind warm water.
Cultural takes on breakfast, food quirks like pizza toppings and fish and chip quests.
The power of family connections around food.
And then, the big one, the reality check on processed foods and their health impact, right down to sleep and internal repair.
And what's really striking is seeing how it all connects, isn't it? Our habits, what we eat, how we learn, our relationships, it's all part of the same picture of well-being, things we might not normally link together.
Exactly. So we hope digging into all this has given you, listening, kind of a shortcut to the key takeaways from your sources, maybe sparked a few aha moments without feeling like information overload.
Yeah, hopefully distilled it down a bit.
Yeah.
Which leads to maybe one final thought to leave you with.
Okay.
Given everything we've just talked about, especially around processed foods, internal health, sleep, what's maybe one small, doable change you could consider making? Could be in your routine, could be an eating habit. Just something small to nudge things in a healthier direction long term.
Nice, like the warm water or trying one home-cooked meal instead of takeout or even just noticing the movie snacks.
Exactly. Anything like that. Something to think about, explore maybe,
Yeah.
and reflect on how all these different pieces of our lives really do fit together.
Yeah.